Carl and Damon here from Brrraains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short, and they made what into a TV series as we continue Halo. This is episode 3, titled Emergence, directed by Brrraains, written by Kyle Killian and Stephen Kane. Been enjoying Halo so far?
Yep. And
this continues into episode 3, where we begin seeing a young Mackie, the young version, played by Zazie Hayhurst, on the planet Obon, which is basically a waste salvage colony that is more like a prison than anything else. The Covenant attack the colony as Mackie is being tortured by a guard, where the elites inadvertently rescue her, but using their Forerunner devices, they see that she's special. It reacts to her, and I guess this is how they picked her up. This is what will be established here, how they picked up Mackie back in the day.
Yep.
Because then we cut the present time, where Mackie talks to Mercy and informs him that she plans to go to Madrigal to start her search for the Keystone. That was obviously on that planet in the earlier episode. Mercy then brings up the Demon, aka Master Chief, and suggests they have the same gift. And she promises to not only bring the Keystone back, but the head of the Demon. So yeah, there's that cool little touch there. I do love that they refer to Master Chief as a demon. Like, that's the power intensity. I love that.
Yep.
On Reach, Miranda is admiring a hologram of the Keystone. Parangosky then orders Miranda to study the Keystone behind Halsey's back. So we're doing some subterfuge here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We're going to get into more of the politics of the UNSC further episodes, more than anything else, but there's a lot of hints of it here.
Yeah, definitely.
Parangosky wants to find out if it does lead to a weapon so that they can use it themselves. Meanwhile, Halsey, if you remember the end of episode 2, her clone is alive, but perhaps a bit too alive. They discuss the Cortana process and that John will be the first to get Cortana. John isn't too pleased about the Cortana process, but the promise of being cleared to fight again means he does agree to do it, as he kind of wants to sort himself out.
Yeah.
It's basically a neural implant containing Cortana. That is then created, which kills the clone in the process, and is put into John's brain. And afterwards, Halsey activates Cortana. Jen Taylor plays Cortana, and this is Taylor reprising her voice role from the Halo video game series, while also providing motion capture for the character. I thought that was a great touch.
Yeah, definitely.
You didn't have to do that. It was a smart choice. It connects this Cortana up to the video game Cortana. What do you make of how Cortana looks, the CGI, and how it looks?
I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's very impressive, very real life.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree, and one of the things I like about it as well is it doesn't look too real. Is because it shouldn't look too real.
No.
It's supposed to be a computer,
Yes.
a computerized being, so it shouldn't look like a really real person.
Yes.
It should have a human form, and that works. But it's not as it's not like as well. They've not gone out of the way to make it look sexy or anything like that. Halsey has limited Cortana's abilities because she still wants John to have some control. So that's the touch there as well, to make there a balance between the pair. We go to Rubble, where Quan is anxious about what was happening to Madrigal. And she goes to see Soren and tells him that she wants to go back to her planet and join the insurrectionists loyal to her father. He has no interest in doing it, and there's no interest in giving her a ship. John asked me to look after you, staying here. But she gets rude, and he's like, had enough of that, and he gets mean about it. So they're kind of getting into a bit of a conflict, these two.
I like the fact that even though Soren and John had differences, but he's still loyal to John.
Yeah. He still has that friendship and stuff like that. Yeah. And he has no interest in helping her. He doesn't see the point. There's nothing in it for him either. I think that's an important aspect. Halsey is talking to John about Cortana. His unwillingness to meet her is quite amusing. He does not seem too happy. He's really uncomfortable with the idea of having this person inside his head, this thing inside his head.
Yeah.
They do meet, and he is not nice to her at all. Her having a personality does add a lot of fun to this.
Yes.
And I do enjoy their back and forth, particularly as it goes on, particularly as John becomes a bit more demanding in later episodes.
Yes, it is fun,
A UNSC patrol ship finds what looks like an abandoned Covenant ship and speak to Mackie. Mackie pretends to be alone, having been captured as in trouble, and they send her a pod to rescue her. Under the watchful eye of Halsey and Cortana, John touches the Keystone again. Activates, and he gets even more intense memories. Cortana, while this happens, then puts John in a stasis so she can look into the keystone. But when she does it, it turns off. And that's an interesting wrinkle. When John is then taken out of stasis, it turns back on. So it seems like it's him specifically, active, awake, and so on, that's needed to activate the keystone.
Yep.
And the Cortana, being a very advanced computer as well, I do like this, argues with Halsey about limiting her abilities, saying, look, if you let me take full control, I'll be able to do this. But Halsey's against doing that at this stage.
Yeah, of course.
And it's interesting because you do this thing where it's like, it's not Cortana being evil or mean or anything. It's Cortana not understanding.
Yep.
Because it's like, well, this is my purpose. Why am I here if I can't do this?
Yeah, she's been restricted from.
Yeah, she's a computer.
Yep.
You know, she's a device in his head, so she can't understand that aspect of things. We go back to Mackie now, arriving on the UNSC ship, greeted by a lot of guns. Always pleased to see that they're not taking her innocence straightforward.
Yep.
They don't trust her and all that. They search her, and it seems as though her ruse has worked at this stage, and she is welcomed. And then Halo turns into a horror movie. As she unleashes tentacle monsters in what is, like I said, a horror scene.
It's proper bloody brutal.
It's brutal shit. And she just murders basically all his UNSCs, except the commander of this ship. And she wants to know where Master Chief took the keystone, and also where the UNSC home base is. So I thought that was quite interesting. That's something that the Covenant don't know. They don't know about Reach.
Yes.
So that's interesting. We don't see one of Mackie's interesting abilities, which is like a finger dagger, claws that come out of her fingers, like blue. But her reign ends up being all for nothing as she can't access the ship's data. So I thought that was interesting too. On Reach, John meets up with the rest of the Silver Team. And they're all cool with him. They still respect and like him. But Cortana pops out and makes it super awkward for the rest of the team. And John is not nice to her at all. He really has a problem with Cortana at this stage. Meanwhile, Quan and Niara talk, but Quan is still adamant that she's going to find a way to get to Madrigal. So that's kind of her focus now. Meanwhile, John talks to Cortana about what he sees when he touches the keystone. He describes his dreams, and she narrows down his description to a long list of planets. His emotions being suppressed is becoming an issue, and he gets the idea to remove the pellet, an implant that suppresses his emotions. This sees Cortana report to Halsey, but the doctor tells Cortana to help him remove it. And I was like, okay, so Halsey thinks she can use John's memories and stuff like that to her own benefit. Because remember, we're at this stage with Halsey, her motivations are sketchy. You never know quite what she really wants from this, and that will get more and more blurred as things go on. We get a nice ass shot of John. Nice ass, John. Absolutely. With Cortana's help, he's able to remove his pellet. But also, one of the Silver Team was watching too. Kai, she sees this happening. And we get what is one of my favourite sequences in the absolute show to date. Because he's able to feel again. And John wanders Reach, taking it all in. Like a baby, seeing things for the first time. I'm a huge fan of the sets of scenes. The music, the acting from Master Chief
I was
here.
going to say that. The guy, I can't remember his name.
But
I tell you what, he plays the part so well.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Wide-eyed, looking at Reach, wandering around, seeing theatre for the first time. It's brilliant.
Yeah. People having kissing relationships, playing football, and
Now I know fans of the show were very anti this. Anti the idea that Master Chief's emotions were just suppressed by a pellet, and that it wasn't something he just learned over time, as he does kind of in the game. I get why that might be frustrating. I think you've got to remember this is a show, and it needs to be snappier and peppier, and you don't get that same level of individuality where you're playing the role.
Well, I'm not a fan of the game. I love it so.
Yeah, I loved it. That's it. We said this at the start of this talk through when we began episode 1. Is our disconnect from being massive fans of the show, the game, meant that we might be able to enjoy the show in a different way. John goes back to the base and touches the keystone again, and his memories are now a bit clearer. These are his parents, and there is a second keystone on his home planet. He drew it, and it may even be buried there. His home planet is a place called Adrenius 2, but now deserted because of a plague, something that suggested John's parents may have also died because of that plague. Halsey comes along and she pretends that she doesn't know what he has been doing, but we know she's been monitoring him, so we know she's lying. He fills her in on what he found out and his plan and where he's planning to go. And Halsey says, look, you can go, but I'm going to go with you. Meanwhile, back in rubble, Kwan is trying to fix a rundown ship and steal it, but she's caught by Soren. She then offers him her family's detrium, which is, I guess, money supplies enough that he would do it, which is enough to convince him. To his view, he's decided he gets the stuff, or he gets the bounty on her head. I don't love the fact that he's like, all right, money, yep, cool, and that's enough for him to do it.
He's a pirate, so I accepted that. Obviously, he's living on an asteroid, asteroid wasteland. He's got family, he's got kids, money.
I get that as well, and I get he might be getting a bit frustrated with Kwan as well, and kind of just wants shot of her. Elsewhere, Mackie is trying to bypass the UNSC's ship security, but the files are wiped when she tries to do this. So some security system from UNSC wipes the files if anyone tries to access them who hasn't obviously got access. So I like that as well. But UNSC HQ picks up a transmission to Mercy. She makes a transmission to Mercy, but it's garbled. Meanwhile, John and Halsey travels to Iridianis 2 to investigate, and we Soren and Kwan heading off to Madrigal, where also Mackie is heading now as well. So everybody's going on a different directions, and this is what we're going to get as we move forward. A strong episode. It's a strong episode purely based around the introduction of Katana and John's removal of the pellet. Those two parts are brilliant. But I also want to praise Mackie's assault on the UNSC ship as another great moment. Those three things made this episode great for me.
I mean, other than the beginning, there wasn't much. It was
a lot of talking.
Yeah, it was basically like an information episode.
Yeah.
But it still held up.
Yeah, it just felt like we were progressing in every direction. From Mackie heading out to get the keystones, from John developing and removing the pallet to the introduction of the katana. Even the Kwan and Soren stuff, which really didn't do much, at least was going in the direction that we can now follow along, you know? So there's elements of that. But I'm still just thoroughly enjoying the show.
Yeah, definitely.
That is episode 3, Emergence, of the Halo TV series. You got any thoughts and you know what to do? Let us know in the comments.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?